This is a demo video for day 1 of the stop motion animation project for 7th grade science. Your job this week is to show and describe how the organs within an organ system interact using stop motion animation. Your primary job day 1 is to create a storyboard for your stop motion animation that shows the interactions within your organ system. Right here you want to write your group members. Then you want to put your period, and lastly, which organ system you guys are describing. Each person in the group can work on a storyboard, but you only need to have one finished by the end of the day to be able to start filming. If a kid in your group creates a scene that you want to add, just cut their scene out and add it to a master version that'll be like your final storyboard. A good place to start before you lay out your scenes for your storyboard is by looking in your book. Find the section that has to do with your organ system and then look at how they illustrate things. This is an illustration for your book that shows things on a macro level or the whole body, in this case the respiratory system, where you can actually see the head and the lungs and the body. But the book does a great job using Pepe and Bolo to zoom in on these different organs and show what it would be like to be in them. In this illustration, Pepe and Bolo are traveling through the villi and microvilli of the small intestine. The artist just had to draw these humps and shapes to illustrate that and didn't have to draw the whole human body at the same time. To illustrate mucus, they just zoom in on its color and its consistency instead of drawing the whole stomach or drawing the whole body, for example. And in this one, we just see the open mouth with the pizza entering it as a description of what happens at the beginning of the digestive system. Your group can also use these templates I've drawn so that you don't have to draw the whole body, but you could just draw some of the things inside it. This will be the one for the respiratory system. This one with the guy putting something to his mouth is for the digestive system. And this guy here would be good if you needed to draw a macro version of the circulatory system. If you're a big fan of Pepe and Bolo, you can use this page and cut these guys out and add them to your illustrations. They could be saying things that could describe the interactions that are happening in your system or just part of the scene to show scale or to show movement. When you start your storyboard, think in terms of sequence or order. The first thing I would show if I were working on the digestive system, I could show some food. Do a simple illustration of something like an apple. Below here, you could do a short description of what the scene is, just in case it's not very obvious. In this case, I'll put food or an apple. Scene 2, then, could be a mouth eating an apple. This is an example of things more at a micro level. I'm not drawing the whole body eating the apple. I'm just showing the mouth eating the apple. And then the next interaction will be inside the body. If you want to add color or something just to help clear it up, you can grab some crayons and add some color. But really keep your storyboard just simple and think about what you're trying to say. When you have an interaction to describe, you could do it a variety of ways. You could have kind of like a title card. I could use my little Pepe and Bolo characters to say, this is mechanical digestion when the mouth eats the apple. And then the other one could say, then amylase starts the chemical digestion, and you could draw something that looked like amylase. You could also just write this out on your whiteboard and take pictures of it, mechanical digestion, or then amylase is added, and then your next scene could be what amylase looks like. Or I could do something like this, where I have maybe Bolo with a little umbrella because saliva is dripping on him in the mouth, and have some sort of a little note that says saliva contains amylase. You know what? I forgot to do something. A title page. It'd be cool to start your stop motion animation with a title page, so you could say digestive system by, and then put your group members' names. Make sure you photograph that, and then have that be your number 1 slide. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to renumber these. I'm going to make this one number 1, and then I'll go back through and just reorder them. My director is going to have to remind me that that's going to come first. If you forget to do that first, you can always go back and add it in, but it's a good way to introduce your stop motion animation and also get credit for who has worked on it. Here are some of the materials you guys will have access to. This yarn can make great veins. We've got all these little beads. They could drop into scenes as different molecules or cells or different liquids, like droplets. We've got pipe cleaners in here. If you want to do your drawings on a chalkboard, these green chalkboards take these different chalks. We also have whiteboards down here with dry erase markers. And then there's some modeling clay. If you do want to do modeling clay, my advice is to keep it really, really simple so that you're not spending a ton of time working on your little models, but more focusing on finishing the project. So to recap for day one, number one, with your group, discuss the interactions within your chosen system. What order should they go in? What specific vocabulary should you include? Check out the posters that Ms. Holland and Ms. Schultz have for you for each different system. Your second job is to create your storyboard. You can all work on one or you can work on multiple storyboards and pick out the best scenes. I say here 12 different scenes, but I would say at least 9, and then title pages would count as extra. Once you feel like you have a solid storyboard, then you can start to explore materials and talk about what materials you'll use for each scene. Lastly, you want to show your storyboard to a teacher for approval before you begin photographing. The next 2 days will be spent creating these scenes and photographing them in OSnap stop motion animation app. If you have a good storyboard, then you should be able to get right to work next class and have a successful go at it. Okay, good luck.